Hello everyone, Kenty Tiger here with Bengali Engineering and Play. We are back in Elder Scrolls Online, and this is my character JDhrft. He is obviously a Khajiit, Nightblade in fact, and we're doing really the kind of the continuation of surveys. So even though he's not the most skilled in straight, direct in-your-face, toe-to-toe combat, my goal. Let me see if I can find him here. Achievements. I'm not sure if it's under crafting, general. The one I'm trying to find is, maybe I'll look down, might be exploration. No, not exploration. It's got to be under general crafting. It's the collecting achievement, which is basically about having picked up things in the world. And I'm not seeing it. The Grandmaster Crafting Harvester. So ultimately, it's, as you hit the different harvester milestones, obviously, so you get 5 points for each one of them. So the harvesting 10 times, which is, everybody gets that. 50 times, everybody gets that. 100 times, pretty much everybody gets that. 1,000 is, most people probably get it if you've played any length of time. But the Grandmaster is where it goes to 10,000. So you go 100, then 1,000, then 10,000, and it actually takes a little while to get there. So in this case, 4652, 4652. Well, I think I'm actually going to write that down just because. 4652. I've found, which I think most people, I don't think this is anything unique to me as a player or any of the characters, is that it really doesn't. It's not a one for one. The game really doesn't do very well at accounting for everything. So especially when you're doing like surveys and stuff where you have 10 at a time or something like that. I found it to be quite inaccurate. In fact, dramatically inaccurate, in my opinion. So I've seen very frequently you have, you picked up 10 or 15 of these, and you look and you have a credit of 8. You made a change of 8. So I really don't. It's not very accurate in its count. Nonetheless. I finished this on Dokenti, which is my main character, and I figured I might as well go ahead and use the surveys to get JDhrft up there as well. This is an achievement that I can do over time. I wasn't in any major rush, but one of the reasons to do so basically as anybody would get a survey. So daily crafting, you have like a 10% chance or something of getting a survey, and I would just literally put those in the bank, and then when I'd log on with Dokenti, I would put them all on him, and so I've kind of shifted that, and now they all go to JDhrft, and then JDhrft can do it. Now the downside to JDhrft is that I have never actually taken him through all three of the factions. So he is about halfway through the second, which I think is Ebonheart Pact. So he's got a lot of places that he has not been yet, which makes doing surveys a little bit impractical. So kind of one of those. So I have to work through that, but ultimately, because I have such a huge collection, in fact, let me go ahead and go in there. So you can see all of these blue ones, and even the 2s and the 3s. I think there's even a 4 down here. Are just, they've stacked up for a long time. I would do a survey, like a big survey run in a week. So I do dailies on most of my characters pretty religiously. Well, when I'm not deployed. Obviously, as you can see, the dates on the video, it's been a long time since I put anything up, and that is literally because I have been deployed for a little over 2 months. So out to the world and assisting the ships, and then finally home again. So I've got a lot of stuff to upload, but in the end, it's really kind of catching up and doing things. I've got a lot of videos I did before deployment that never got uploaded just because I guess I'm a lazy bum. In any case, this is the whole project is about doing surveys, so on we go. This is, I think, basically episode number 5, I think, of this evolution with JDhrft. So JDhrft and the collecting of surveys. So the first place we're going to go is Greenshade. Obviously, Aldemary Dominion, which is his root faction here. Greenshade, here we go, and that one happens to be right here. It's a treasure map rather than a survey, but I kind of lump them all together. I've got I know this sounds totally OCD, which shouldn't surprise too many of you, but I have a list, and as I go through the surveys, I put the little check mark, and then I tend to go from the bottom up. So where I have the least number of check marks, I go there first, just to mark those off. So in this case, I have the 1 in Greenshade, so I'm going to teleport to right there, which should make it pretty easy to get to, and then that one crosses off the list. And then I've got a couple in the Ebonheart Pact, which I may or may not be able to get to. I've got 1 in East March and 1 in Shadowfen, so I may be able to actually get there pretty easily. There's still quite a bit. I'm pretty sure it is Ebonheart Pact that I'm going through. Well, I see Deshawn and Hrothgar, so Deshawn. Yeah, so I think I'm in the Ebonheart Pact at this point. So, main story, experience the Ebonheart Pact. Yep. So, all right. So the trick is actually getting down to where this thing is, and as you can see, we're going to collect things as we go here. I don't want the wasp, but I do want the jute. So we kind of have to figure out how to get down here. So this is a long ways down, obviously, and so I can either do the interesting thing here. Maybe. All right, managed to pull that one off. Okay, which reminds me, one of the things I need to do, I'm going to go ahead and use one of these experience scrolls, and I also want to go ahead and use my food stuff. So that actually is a triple food thing because he is, after all, the max level here. So at this point, it looks like the treasure map is right over here, which is this mound. We've got a alligator here, so we'll go ahead and I'm not using any special moves here at all, just because it's kind of pointless. So dirt mound, this is the what all the treasures throughout the game actually look like. So if you're looking for those, you got to find those mound things. The one shovelful, which of course reveals everything magically, just like real life, and a whole bunch of stuff. Now it's the matter of figuring out how to get back up to the top there, and I might just do a teleport, maybe. But there are things here, so I'm gonna go ahead and take advantage of these. Here I've got something. Oh, that's a sky shard over there that I already have, so that's so in this case, I think we're gonna do a map, and then we'll do the refresh. This is the Luminary Teleporter here. Green Shade, there's one person in Green Shade, so I'm going to take advantage of that. So the Luminary Teleporter is actually really old. It's probably about 3.5 years old now and has not been updated, but it actually works. It's one of the very few mods that are that old, or add-ins that are that old, that still work without errors. The fast travel mod, which is about the same age, unfortunately does have errors, and I still use that, but you may actually see that come up a couple times with errors. Alright, so the Green Shade one is done. We're going to go ahead and I think try to get to East March next. Oh, I've actually turned off the teleport there. So East March. So there's one up here, which is ultimately where I want to go. So we're going to teleport right to here. I think I've made it through most of East March. I've got a lot of quests and stuff there, but one of my goals, as I have been doing surveys, is actually just to move around, discover, and ultimately discover all of the way shrines. It is kind of you know, my major goal. So as I'm doing the surveys, he does JDhrft does get some discoveries as he goes. You can see on the mini map here there is a quest marker here, the start of a quest, so a quest giver here. I'm avoiding all of those mostly because I'm not really here for the sake of questing. I'm really here for the sake of picking up all of these surveys. Now, having said that, I do wander around a bit, and I do collect experience, because experience, after all, when you're a champion, you are really doing champion points, which are applicable to your entire account. So the experience points aren't just about you know, experience points for that character. They are about everybody, which is always a really neat thing. Just spam the snot out of everything here, and absolutely nothing from that whole thing, but hey. I do go around and pretty much collect everything that I can find that's not bolted down, like a good little Khajiit. sec. So there really are a lot of things that you can discover as you go around the world, and so even though I'm on a very focused mission, specifically for sake of surveys, it's not really okay. I'm trying to figure out where this is. It's not really just about the survey. So I am, progressing through and I'm picking up, whatever I can find in the world as I roam. If I see if I see a harvestable item somewhere in the world, then I pick it up. If I see an enemy, not that I don't like killing the cats. After all, being a Khajiit, who are of course very cat-like. Alright, so this is a mining, an ore survey here, so rubidite. So surveys are always 6 items. I know I've said this before, but a lot of times they are clustered very close together. So the mining, which is to say the blacksmith surveys, are all close together. The woodworking surveys, 9 times out of 10, are close together. But there are always 6. And some things like the enchantment surveys, for example, you find the protean, I think they're protean, rune stones, and they are sometimes a bit spread out. So you want to make sure as you're looking that you actually find all of them. So one of the things I also do is, so in your character abilities, in your skills tree, if you go under craft, so in this case it's woodworking. I'll use this as an example. Keen eye is, it puts these flares out on the screen, and obviously they're easier to see at night than they are in the daytime, so it's actually to your benefit to go at night. But it's really all about distance. So you see I have the 1, or actually I have 2 of 3, or maybe this means I am now on the 2nd of the 3rd, so maybe I only have the 1. But either way, that's what the keen eye is, and most of your different, like blacksmith has it. Okay, yeah, so I have 2 of 3, so the check bar in the case of the other one was about the 3rd one. So alchemy, where you see all the different reagents in the world, blacksmithing, to see ore, clothing, to see all the different plants and everything out in the world, enchanting, keen eye, jewelry is brand new. There is a keen eye, but I have not unlocked any of that on this character because he is my 2nd character, so everything right now is focused on Dokenti. Keen eye, oh, provisioning is the one that does not have a keen eye. So I guess I might as well spend that on this, even though, yeah, so that was the 3rd of 3 of 3. So anyway, keen eye is what this is. They really do help you out quite a bit because you can, if you're really watching, then you see these things. But for example, right up here is a metal deposit. I think that's pewter, but let's go ahead and look. So being very keen of your surroundings, okay, platinum seam, wow, okay, which of course does not have the little indicator or anything that it's there. It just, you have to, so as you are looking around in the world, you just kind of see those things, and you're able to go over and collect them. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and take on this saber cat a second time, because this one has respawned. And again, I'm not using any... So, one of the reasons you see Foulhide, Rubedite Axe, Rawhide Scrap, and Experience. So, it really is to your advantage as you are roaming around, even if it's for the mundane task of surveys, to really take on everything that you can find. Now, of course, the downside is you are, so here's Ancestor Silk, for example, was something that's not necessarily part of a survey, but as I'm roaming around in the world, I find these things. So there's a rabbit there. There is an achievement where you shoot X number of rabbits in the world, and there's just a bunch of rabbits around here. Amazing. So, yeah, if you like those sorts of things, little kitty. I see something over here which may or may not actually be anything. Not. It was the corner of the tree. But as you roam around, you will find things. We have a big group of people over here that the nice thing about the Nightblades is they do actually have quite a few area attack type area of effect attacks, I guess is the proper terminology there, and not a thing. Yeah, normally it's worth it because you can kind of collect gibberish as you go. So what I'm doing, I'm just standing here, you know, with an eyesight of these guys who, of course, can't see me because I am a Khajiit hiding behind Snowflake, I guess. But I wanted to let my stamina rebuild. This is a stamina-based Nightblade, so all of the fancy moves do ultimately detract from the stamina. Okay, at least I got one here. Might not be anything, but hey, gold and experience. So, not too bad. All right, so we're pretty much done in East March. I found the survey and picked it up. So that was the East March. Now it's a matter of either walking back to or using the Luminary to get somewhere. So East March is not up on the world here, but that doesn't really matter because any of the... So the way Luminary Teleport works is... So one of the built-in features of the game that was actually not impossible to get to, but very challenging to get through because ultimately you have to open up your guild menu into the roster and then find where any particular individual is. And then one of the built-in features of the game was that you could teleport to any of your guild mates. So if you are a member of a guild and your guildmate happens to be somewhere out in the world, you can teleport to them free of charge. There's no... So, for example, if I were to roll over any one of the way shrines in the game, you see cost to recall, the third line down here. So 146 gold. 146 gold, 146 gold, 146. So right now it's 146. Now, when you first teleport, that's going to be a very, very huge figure. But as you go on in time, those get smaller and smaller. But it's still a cost in gold. Now, why they charge you gold to do that, I have no idea. It seems like a magical something or other would actually cost mana, not gold. But hey, this is ESO. So they charge you for everything, and the whole economy is completely lopsided. I can't even call it lopsided; it's fucking capsized. But you get 50 gold for some purple item But, well, besides it being impossible to buy that item, you know, a just standard something or other would cost you, you know, 300 gold. So the imbalance in the economy is so completely favoring the game that it's ridiculous. There is no economy here. But anyway, the Luminary Teleporter actually makes things a lot easier by way of it brings all of your guildmates up to a singular menu, including telling you where they are. So in this case, the next place that I want to go to is Shadowfen. So I don't have there is no Shadowfen. Apparently not a whole lot of people on today, but I can go somewhere else. So Stone Falls I need to go to, so I could actually go to Stone Falls and then loop around. So in the background you see he's doing the teleport thing, just like if I were paying to go to a way shrine. Now I said a statement that was a bit erroneous on the surface about teleporting to that person. You're actually not teleporting directly to your guildmate. They're not the target. Is actually the closest way shrine to your guildmate. And the neat thing about this is you do not have to have been to this way shrine to take advantage of it. You could actually end up, and in fact this is a great way to really kind of streamline your way shrine experience, is to work with a guildmate or a buddy who has actually been to a lot of different places, and you tell them to go to a specific place, you teleport to them, and by that you will discover that way shrine just by virtue of them being there. So you teleport to them, which is to say you teleport to the closest way shrine in the game to them, which may be a way shrine that you have not discovered. So by virtue of you landing in the world at that way shrine, you discover that way shrine, and any discovered way shrines are available to you in-game at any time to be able to transport to. So what I mean by that is that if you are at a way shrine, then you, for example, I'm standing here at David's Watch way shrine. If I click on the E, the use, and obviously if you're using a controller, you're going to have a different key. But at that point, you're going way shrine to way shrine, which is free. You don't pay any money for that. If you're out in the world and you use your map to teleport, that's when you're going to be charged for all of this. So anyway, babble, babble, babble. But in the end, what I want to do here is go E. You can see there's a lot of stuff here on the screen that's still black. So I have not finished questing. I've got quests out here. Although I do have a lot of stuff here. You can see 4 of them on the screen. There may be more. So here's, let me say, I am in David's Watch, Shadowfen, Stone Falls. I'm in Stone Falls. So there's actually 7 here by my count. So we can see 4. There's 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Now there may be stuff hiding somewhere else, but most likely these are duplicates. Which means I would do the survey, I would get the advantage of that particular survey, and then the X, which marks the survey here, would actually, so in this case, I've got a clothier survey. There's only 1. You can see it on the window that pops up there. But this one's also 1. This one here is 3. So there's actually 3 enchanter surveys that are right there. So what I would have to do is teleport in, do the survey, teleport out, come back. So really, underneath the game engine, so the playing experience here is that you have to go. Everything is actually in little segments, little zones, if you will, and not the zones. Like Shadowfen or Deshaan, not those kinds of zones, but broken up in the game engine as like a little region, that you're in this little block right now. And so it loads all the stuff for that block. And to make it refresh the survey, I'll use that word refresh, if you have multiple ones, you have to step outside that little region, and then when you come back in, then that survey has refreshed and you're okay. So you have to be a certain distance, and it's, I don't know what that distance is, and I'm not sure that you could really easily correlate that to anything in the game anyway. So in the case where the survey is right next to a way shrine, then just teleport the way. You know, go somewhere else. In this case, I'd probably go over here, which is a 2. So there's 2 of those. So I'd probably go to this one first if I were doing this logically. Do this one first, teleport over here, do this one, teleport back over here, do this one, teleport back over here, do this one, teleport back over here, boom, done. So 3 and 2. So anyway, the reality is I need to come back to this one here, but in keeping with my normal OCD style, we're going to go to Shadowfen first. So in this case, Shadowfen, we're going to bring it up. And unfortunately, so here's where the survey actually is, and this particular way shrine I have not gone to yet. So what I'm actually going to do here is do a little bit of discovery. I'm going to teleport into this one, the Stormhold way shrine, and then I'm going to march down this road. I'm going to hit this. I'm going to pick up this book. I'm going to discover this thing, whatever it is, the Tarmok Wolk. It's a quest hub, so I really am not going to do that after all. And then march across here to get to this. Hit the survey, hit this, and this guy here looks like it is out. Nope, that's a delve. So, yeah. If they were out in the world, I'd probably collect those as well. So, anyway, that's the goal. This one, hit the book, maybe a discovery here. Well, damn, that's a quest hub, but I could probably do this. Oh, there's a way shrine that's out in the world, so maybe we'll divert. So we'll hit this one, the book, the point of interest here, the sky shard, and then we'll go across and hit this way shrine here, hit this, and then the point of interest over here. So that's the goal. So, having said that, we'll get on our way. And while that's loading, I'm going to go refill my tea. So one of the built-in functions of the game, let me bring up the map again, and we're going to right-click to get out to the world here, is the ability to put on a specialized map marker. So in this case, I'm roaming down this road here, but the goal really is to get to this way shrine. To put a map marker on the screen is actually really simple on the map, sorry, is F. F is in Foxtrot, F. So you see this little diamond that shows up, and then the green that you see now on the map. So set your destination, Bog Mother Way Shrine. So that's where I am, and that's going to appear up on my compass. So kind of hard to see, but you see it on the left side there. So if I rotate around, you see that that swivels around. So that can actually help you when you are setting these grand journeys as you're going along. And because the surveys in this case are the goal, then having that map marker there kind of guiding you in is a good thing. Always take advantage of the merchants that are in game, especially if you don't have the merchant as the assistant. So we go to sell. There's things here that are sell to merchant for gold. That's the only thing you can do with them. so you might as well sell them. And that is, in fact, the only thing I have for sale, which is fine. But always take advantage of them. It's a good thing. They're out there. It's free money. In my case, I got it from fighting something in the world, and it's 9 gold. 9 gold doesn't sound like very much, but it's 9 gold that I didn't have before. So it's 9 gold. Always want to take advantage. So you can see on the minimap, if you do not use a minimap, I highly recommend it. It does save you in many cases as you're roaming around in the world. It saves you having to go back and forth between your map and the world. So actually it is extremely convenient. Once again, hard to see, but if you see just over here, you see those little flickers of light, which means there is a harvestable thing. This happens to be iron ore. So definitely keep a lookout. Always pan your camera around so you can see everything. If you're just into collecting soul gems, remember that every creature now is a champion 16 basically. So champion 160. So if you're collecting, these will fill what used to be a grand soul gem. I think they're just soul gems now, but they still, I think, have all the different designators. So all of these things that are potentially neutral are still something that you can use if you're into filling soul gems. So I have probably about 2,000 empty soul gems. My son would send the soul gems because he would collect a whole bunch of soul gems as well, and he just eventually had so many that he didn't know what to do with them, so he started giving them to me. So now I have soul gems that I have collected, empty soul gems, and he's got some. So I see a crocodile over here. Oh, in fact, a wasp right here. So I recommend that you always try and block, and the reason that blocking is a good thing is it stuns them, which means you get a few free strikes in, which is always. Oh, that was gone. Oh well. So there's another something. This is water, pure water, which could be most anything. In this case, clear water. So leveling, which I not leveling, but scaling, which I completely despise. It used to be that whatever crafting level you happen to be, then you would end up with an appropriate level of materials in that particular world. And that is still kind of the case. So you see I'm picking up iron, which is my level, or rather the case of this particular character. So here's the way shrine. So now that way shrine you see on the minimap here has turned white. Sometimes the minimap does not update quite right, and it will remain black, but if you go to your main map, that's the ultimate, it will always be correct. So this is the goal here. Now one of the things you notice is my little map survey there did remain in place. So hopefully we can move that. So what I want to do here is just, I'm going to continue on down the road, but I'm going to stray just a little bit. So that book is up here somewhere, probably on this chest somewhere, in the trunk. So somewhere over here, there's the book. And you see the Mages Guild, I got 5 points for that. There is a barrel here, so I'm going to go ahead and take that as well. There's a sack, which is kind of hard to see, but it's right here. So the reason you take these is that you pick up, so that's methagen, whatever the heck that is. If you can't really see it, there's the little light sparkles over here towards that guar. So the guars are neutral here, but here's another. So this is, you know, again, if you find it in the world, it's a freebie. Just pick it up and take it, and eventually you'll end up with a lot of stuff. All right, so we're continuing on down here. Over this way, which is our next goal, is the Sky Shard. I see a wasp over here, so I'm gonna go do some combat with Mr. Wasp here. And again, if okay, somebody coming in there. Thank you for the assist. So over here somewhere. Okay, not sure what this thing is. Maybe I don't want to know. It's glowy thing. So here's the Sky Shard. So we're gonna go ahead and get that while we're here. We're roaming in the world. I don't want to go into any of the dungeons because that's more like I'm starting on questing. A little more focused. Adventuring, which I don't really want to do with this particular character. So again, here's more stuff. So having the little sparklies and everything really is kind of a good thing for you. So the problem with all this, so the campsite might be, yeah, these are. Oh, and I don't like taking on Khajiit, but oh well. It is what it is. And thankfully, a Lightfoot. What a good name for a Khajiit. So, truly superb glyph of shock. I do have one character here who is still needing to do enchanting, because enchanting just takes forever. Bread. Take bread. I don't really need the bread for anything. So there's barrels and there's a crate here, so I'll take the crate. You see that was a Kai berry. So you really, as you're roaming around in the world, you really do want to spend a little bit of time doing everything. There was a sack that I just passed there, but we'll take care of these guys first. I tend to stay in motion when I can. If you're not really confined, you always want to stay in motion. So here's water, here's a heavy sack. So the water skin. Yeah. Alright, so we'll take care of these guys. Alright, and back to the water skin. Obviously the barrels here in the basket. So that was the water skin, the barrels, there's the basket, there's another basket in here if I can get my reticle onto it. So again, you're collecting just anything because that, especially if you're an ESO Plus member, because you can store an infinite amount of gibberish in your account. So alright, so there was the heavy sack, which was 10 bananas. We'll go ahead and deal with this particular person here. And again, I'm not always using the special moves here. So we have a basket, we have a barrel, we have a basket, we have a flour sack and a sack, and an apple basket. Yep, good stuff, all good stuff. We have a special book over here, which may or may not be anything, but we'll go ahead and look at that. It may not do you any good, but I always go for anything of the sparkly. Alright, so I think that basket is empty, so we'll try and squeeze through here and then go to these barrels. And I think the reason that is because I've been there. Alright, so here was the sack that I bypassed before. The barrels. And of course these guys are back, so we might as well Kill them a second time. Depending on what level you are, you may actually not have to worry about when they shoot at you. You notice I didn't even put any effort into avoiding anyone there. So there's a sack there, a couple sacks over here, sack, maybe a sack, and a crate which is empty, but there's a sack and a water skin. A water skin is just like the pure water. It will give you some random thing. This is in fact Lorcan's Tears, which are the top tier of the water. So that's what lets you make some of these different things. Alright, so I have discovered this camp. This camp was apparently what the discovery was. So the next goal in this case, and these guys may actually spawn in here while I'm standing here, but I'm going to go to the map real quick. And the idea is now I'm here, and I'm going to go ahead and so I've met the goal. I got my shard, discovered this point of interest, and we're going to now put the thing there. So in this case, I'm going to come back over to these guys, and why not? We'll kill them a third time because A, they're here. And again, not really avoiding them because not really much need. I regenerate fairly quickly because of all the champion points. Now, when you find these kinds of things in the world, it really depends on what you're doing. So if you are a fairly junior character, or you have a fairly junior character, I do recommend taking everything you find. And the reason I make that recommendation is you will not get any materials for those. Those ones that you find in the world, they are materialless, which means you'll always get that, no materials gained when you deconstruct it. However, you do get the, I guess you could call it experience points for them, which is a good thing. So even though you don't get any materials for them, you do get the experience. So, and that experience goes towards that particular crafting ability. So definitely, in this case, blacksmith crafting ability. So if you are not yet at level 50 in blacksmith, then this is so block, and now he's stunned, which means I'll get a couple free hits on him, which is always a good thing. There's always a chance that they will have something, and so it's always to your advantage to take on enemies out in the world if you can handle it. So here's a mushroom here. So we'll pick that up. There's, as you can see, almost center screen here, there is another something. Maple. There's a wasp, and right by the lake there is another harvestable. So block, they stunned, and then dead, and whenever they're highlighted like this, there is something. So wow, we have a truly superb glyph. Okay, so good for my character who's still doing this, and some nightshade here. Alright, so we got a little bit off track, but that's pretty common for those of you who have watched me quite a bit. So in this case, we're going to roam straight across. I need to head pretty much due east. So I thought I saw a survey, but no, maybe not. Alright, so heading, I gotta get my due east thing here going. Up and over, down and around. Alright, going down this way, because it is kind of in the swamp. Maybe I'll go around those rocks rather than jumping off the side of them. a strange place for a way shrine, but hey. And so we have a couple crocodiles here. Nothing gained except experience. And we have a rubidite ore here. So again, always pan around. You may not have seen it, but here is a, right here next to the reticle is a Rune Stone. So it is always in your best interest to pan around often as you're playing. Ooh, expert, mundane rune harvester. What a joy. So in this case, it's somewhere over here. I see an alligator. Ooh, a pair of alligators, which is fine. And both of these in this case, so not a whole lot. Rubidite hide scrap, which is nice. The foul hide I can sell, so that's 9 gold for free. Okay, so then I just have to find out how to get up to the top here, which I think is this staircase here. Up, Forsaken Hamlet discovered, and you can see on the compass here that has not yet been discovered. So as I get to the way shrine, there we go, now it's discovered. It may or may not turn white on the map itself, but yeah, it did. So in this case, we're going to continue to the east if I can here. Go around the outside here and back down. Well, can't really go back down, but hey. In this case, a little fishing hole there. So somewhere over here, I think I see it already, is a survey. There's a clothing survey. So we have 2 furrier traps. So there's 1, 2. There will always be 2 furrier traps. And then you'll have 4 plants of some kind. Usually commensurate with your level, but not necessarily. And by that I mean your crafting level. Alright, so that was 6. So the 2 furrier traps and then the 4 plants. So that is the completion of that survey. I see something that is of an odd color over here. Oh, it's a frog. Alright, so I don't really need to worry about that, but I do see the glow, which is a Rune Stone. And I see crocodiles over here, so I'm going to go around and play with the crocodiles. There's actually 3 here. 3 can be a bit of a challenge if you are not of sufficient level. Wow, and all 3 of them. So truly superb glyph there. Those are always good because the truly superb are the highest level of glyphs. You know, they're not the color, but the highest level, which means by taking them apart, you actually get quite a bit of experience for them. So if you're still working on, there's a foul hide, there you go, and rubido hide scraps, which you can use for crafting. So always a good thing. Save you having to buy it. I don't know what this is. A pewter seam. And another Rune Stone here. So even though I have met the intended goal here, it's just kind of, you know, the cascading thing of, so we have all the enemies over here, so I might as well roam over here and get a little bit more experience points. And I discovered this camp here, which is a good thing. Discoveries always give you experience points in the case of any of your characters, even if you are needing even if you're not needing experience points and you're on to the champion points, it is actually a good thing because the champion points again apply to everybody. It's one of those, I'm earning the points here, but in the end they are applicable to everybody all the way across my account. So basically, if I earn a champion point here on JDhrft, that's all fine and dandy, but that very same champion point that JDhrft earns, oh, look at that, a book, is applicable to others. So I can, if you see in the top spent CP, which is champion points, I have 1 of 166 in all 3 categories, in fact. So whatever that champion point happens to be, everybody gets to use that champion point, which is always a nice thing. Hopefully you get something, even if it is just experience and gold, but there was another truly superb glyph. Alright, so in the end, I'm just kind of roaming around here doing nothing, so I might as well move on. So this was Shadowfen, so that is done there. So let me do a quick count here. I have a couple 6s, I have a couple 7s, so what I usually do is kind of go from the bottom up. So in this case, I see another group of enemies, so I'm going to take care of those. And then we're, I think, going to go to the Rift. I don't know that I've actually been through the Rift, so there may be some adventuring to get to the various locations, but we're going to go ahead and try. So the little yellow highlights here, which means I get something. Rubido leather arm cups, so I can either dismantle that and get materials from them, or sell if that works out. Another group over here, so I might as well. And yes, I admit I am somewhat roaming aimlessly. The goal is the surveys, but in the end, it's all about getting experience points and that sort of thing. And as you're roaming through, hey, looky here, we have barrels. Huh. I really truly don't know what that thing is. It's kind of cool looking. I wish I could get that and put it, there's a crate, even though. Sold something else in the world. I don't know what that is. That's kind of cool looking. I would like to get one of those for a house, just because. So, anyway, pick those up. There's probably some more stuff over here. Nope, and most of this is, unfortunately, so the sack, tomato, millet sack, seasoning is there, and hopefully there is a barrel. Yes, there is, and several other barrels, barrel, and crates. So again, always collect these things. They'll let you get things in the world. The kegs always contain some kind of drink, which of course you use for your attributes. So they can help boost your attributes. All right. Joys of wandering aimlessly. So over here, even though I hate fighting fellow Khajiits. So I got at least one. There we go. Got 2. So we have an essence of stamina, another truly superb. We have poison. So poison, if you use that sort of thing, is actually can be a really good thing. In fact, other than selling it, it really serves no other purpose. So truly, you can gain quite a bit of experience just by roaming around and doing this. Obviously, this is an area where a lot of people are, and so they continually respawn, which means I just wander. So I can't really call this grinding per se, but certainly I am getting experience points, and because I have the crown scroll active, I'm getting 50% more experience here than I would otherwise. So again, if you can manage it, you want to always keep in motion if you can. So here is something, which was just gold in this case, but gold is gold. And we also revealed right over here a rubidite ore. So we might as well pick that up. And that was a 3, in fact. A couple alligators here, so we'll go ahead and take advantage of these guys. This is one of the reasons why surveys take so long. So if we pull the reality machine into play here, I have actually completed a treasure chest and a survey, maybe 2 surveys, and we've already been going at this for an hour. So talk about the squirrel AAD, right? ADD kind of a thing. Hey, squirrel. So anyway, that's one of the joys of this. So I think because this is an hour, there's part of me that wants to go ahead and go 2 hours just because I did that in some of the others. But I'm going to go ahead and break here with swords drawn, and we'll continue on in the next episode. So thank you so much for watching. This is Kenty Tiger signing off. We'll see you next time.